The GovX show is supported by Forrester, helping government organisations perform at their best. Visit forrester.com to learn more.
Hi, welcome to another episode of the GovX Show. I'm Tim Coulthard, Community Director here at GovX Digital. And today my guest is Sandra Taylor, who is the Assistant Director of IT and Digital at Worcestershire County Council, county of my birth. I'm very proud to come from Worcestershire, and so great to hear what they've got going on in terms of digital and innovation. And they've got an exciting new digital strategy, which is really founded on some interesting principles around inclusion and accessibility for services, as well as using innovation to drive change and progress in the way they deliver services themselves. Great conversation with Sandra, and I'll be along at the end to tell you more about how she's getting involved in GovX Digital 2021. There's a fantastic panel session lined up where she'll be joining other local government public sector leaders. So join me at the end to hear more from that. But in the meantime, here's Sandra. So Sandra, it's great to have you join us on the GovX show. Welcome.
Hello, nice to see you.
We're going to talk a bit about the work that's going on at Worcestershire County Council and your role in some of that and around digital and innovation and all that sort of good stuff. But maybe we could start off just by understanding a bit about your role, what your sort of main areas of focus are and what you're trying to achieve in sort of personal capacity there.
Okay, so a little bit about me. I spent the first few years of my career in the private sector. So I started out as an IBM programmer. And then in the early 90s, I joined the public sector, and I've been in local government for 30 years now. Over that time, I've worked with the majority of council services, as well as many partner organisations. My passion is digital transformation, and I do feel I've been part of its evolution over the years, from a trending local government to a central component of our strategies. And over the last year, it's been a particular time of change on a number of fronts, not least for me, not least because I moved to Worcestershire County Council as their Assistant Director for IT and Digital. Since joining Worcestershire, I've been responsible for developing a number of strategies. So I've worked on the council's digital strategy, their IT strategy, and the information governance strategy. And we've specifically focused on improving information cybersecurity, our IT resilience and capacity, as well as additional training and support for staff.
Okay, good stuff. So a lot going on.
Yeah.
Interested that you made the switch from private to public sector, so I guess you've kind of got a sort of broad perspective there. So you've been at Worcestershire a little while now, and as you said, you've started to sort of identify those strategic priorities. Maybe we could just drill a bit into those, and what are the big areas of focus that you're focusing on, and I guess why are they important, and why do they matter right now?
So I mentioned we just launched our digital strategy, and that defines our digital ambition, and it's focused on outcomes and our customer experience. And it's intended to provide a blueprint for how we're going to use technology and digital resources to achieve our business challenges. And within that, we've identified 5 key digital priorities. So we're looking at digitally training our workforce and skills, ensuring they have the skills to maximise their digital opportunity, to reduce their resilience on paper and manual processes. We're looking at our digital services. So we want to design in line with government digital service principles, and we are establishing a programme plan to deliver digital service redesign. We're looking at our digital customers. So we're investing in a new website to provide a personalised experience, reviewing and enhancing our information, and making sure that we enhance our digital inclusion activities to develop digital skills across the community. Then we're looking at our data. So we need to use digital tools to deliver integrated data solutions and single views of data. And then lastly, digital county, so supporting our residents and businesses to fully engage in the digital world. When we developed our digital strategy, we undertook a number of workshops with a range of stakeholders to identify, and that identified that whilst we have a strong digital delivery capability, these 5 areas are further opportunities to enable us to become a leading digital council. And ultimately, it's important we focus on these priorities so we can improve how we serve our customers and our communities.
Yeah, I guess that's the key thing, isn't it? There's lots of potential activity, there's lots of potential development, but if it doesn't lead to that that key outcome, which is better impact, better results, then I suppose it's a lot of effort that's not really achieving what you want it to do. I mean, there's a lot there, as there is in any sort of digital strategy. Do you have a sense emerging yet of where the priorities are within that, and where you're sort of starting, where the sort of the most important wins would be across that piece, or is it all going to move forward together?
Well, I mean, we do have an implementation plan, which is for, moving forward each of these areas. I think at the moment we're focused on looking at our digital skills within the workforce, particularly as we move out of lockdown. And the website's a key foundation stone for us in terms of making sure that we can have the right front door to our customers digitally. So I think it's probably fair to say those are our digital inclusion as well. We're very focused on digital inclusion at Worcestershire.
Yeah.
So we're doing a lot around that.
Great stuff. And I think we're going to come on to a bit about the way the digital interface meets the general public and your citizens a bit later on, because I think that's a real sort of key part of this. I mean, coming into the organization and sort of, being part of the process of building this digital strategy, what's your feeling in terms of where Worcestershire is right now in terms of its current digital capability? Is it in good shape? And this is a sort of adding and enhancing from a sort of good foundation?
Yeah, so I think we're in a good position with our digital capability in Worcestershire. So from a technology perspective, we've invested in several key digital systems, which has given us the capability to deliver bespoke digital solutions quickly and at a reasonable cost. And that's already underpinned the enablement of 100% of the council services to be accessed online. So we've improved data sharing and collaboration with partners, and we've improved the experience provided to our citizens and our businesses. We've got an established core capacity for delivering digital transformation. So we have IT and digital program and project managers. We have been at business analysts to analyse business requirement and do some process redesign. We use an agile delivery approach for all our digital transformation projects. But that said, we know there are areas that we need to address. So as I said, we need to do more to support our workforce with digital skills and knowledge. I don't think we've got a fully embedded digital first culture. Some of our systems aren't as intuitive and easy to use as we'd like, or don't fully provide self-service functions. We have about 50% of customer contact coming through online channels, so we can do more to improve that. Whilst we have got digital solutions, I'd say they're not, the process redesign behind that hasn't been completely digital. So we've not got truly end-to-end service redesign. So, we're not too bad, but there's more to do. So overall, we've got a good, solid digital foundation at Worcestershire, and importantly, we've got a plan on how we want to move forward and improve.
Yeah, I was going to say, I mean, no organisation is truly everywhere it wants to be in terms of sort of, development, because there's always something new. There's always a sort of further opportunity to go. And at least what sounds really encouraging is you've identified those areas where you can enhance and improve. So that's part of the first step of that foundation that you've already talked about in your strategy. So that's got to be encouraging. And I guess I'm interested in finding out how some of this is now playing out in terms of sort of digital projects and execution, and any examples you could reference where, some relatively new digitally enabled projects are sort of starting to come to fruition and deliver impact.
So I think we've got a couple of really good examples at Worcestershire. So we've got our low-code solution, which now enables 100% of our council services to be accessed online. But importantly, it gives us agility, and that really came to the fore at the start of the pandemic. So, for example, we were called on to help launch the council's Here to Help community response programme, and we were able to design, develop and deploy 7 apps in just 2 weeks at the start of the pandemic. And, critically, that enabled the council to help vulnerable individuals across the county and within the council at this crucial time. And last year in total, we launched 22 COVID-related apps, which is quite an achievement. And then we've got the council's Sculpt for Accessibility, which is our standard for creating accessible content such as documents and web pages. So it's our answer to educating and supporting our culture of inclusive digital practice. So it's a great example because we held research workshops and demonstrations to get feedback from those who use assistive technology, so we could understand their experiences and their frustrations. And that led to formulating a list of requirements for creating accessible content that became the acronym for SCULPT, which is structure, colour and contrast, use of images, links, plain English and table structure. And we've carried on building on that. So we've taken several tacks. So we've engaged with senior managers about the standard. We've got a communication plan, information on the intranet. We've recently developed an e-learning course, and such is the importance we place on it. It's mandatory for all of our employees. So I think it's a fantastic example, really, and we've done some work to try and promote that, to other councils, because it's been so successful here in Worcester.
That's great to hear that sharing piece is coming out of it as well, because I think there's a danger always that a digital project might sort of focus on the users who are sort of up to speed and are sort of comfortable with that kind of interface and interaction. And of course, the inclusivity of a service is about not leaving anybody behind. So the fact that some of these principles have been designed into it, and there's a whole kind of like brand and mindset behind that. It's really great to hear, and then to hear that it's been shared with other organizations as well. So that's really heartening. I guess there's always going to be challenges along the road as well, for lots of different reasons, and that's unique to not unique to every organization. So what are the things you kind of run into that can sort of slow things down, or across the board, whether it's sort of skills, culture, whatever it might be? What do you encounter, and how do you sort of tackle those?
So I've seen over the years how culture eats digital for breakfast. Yeah. So, and a key component in creating successful transformation before looking at the tech is the culture and the leadership. And we saw at the start of the pandemic how cultural intransience was completely swept away. And I've seen some great leadership during this crisis, particularly about embracing new ways of working and utilising technology. And we need to see this continue. So in Worcestershire, as I've said, we've invested a lot of time and effort in our digital strategy, and that's a key tool to buy in, to get buy-in at all management levels, including our members. And I think through this, there is support from our leaders to continue with our digital journey. The other challenge, obviously, is digital skills. And one of the positives about the lockdown is that we've all come a long way into learning new skills, and digital literacy has taken a leap forward. And whilst we have a good technical infrastructure in place, there's still more to do in terms of introducing new technology and redesigning services. So a key part of that is engaging with the customer, because you can't design from the customer perspective unless you actually talk to them. So we're doing customer engagement exercise at the minute so that we understand what our customers actually want. And I think a key challenge, obviously, over the last 12 months has been about the resources we've had to divert to the COVID response. So we've got many staff who would have been working on service redesign and transformation, and they've been allocated to work associated with COVID, as well as our frontline staff prioritising support to our communities. So as we see the lockdown easing, we should see the release of staff so we can start to resume the work that we want around transformation.
That's really powerful. And I think the impact on the sort of front line, I think what's interesting is that, and I know this is something that you and Worcestershire are very sort of clear on your intent on, is around how digital can unlock elements of inclusivity and accessibility. And you've already talked about some of those kind of design principles that you've sort of built into the processes. How do you see more broadly the possibility of digital and its positive impact on those areas of citizen engagement and citizen accessibility and connection with the council?
So I feel technology is as an enabler has huge potential to provide equality of opportunity by offering choice in how services are accessed and delivered. The internet's a crucial and growing part of modern life, and emerging technologies, in particular our websites, have a greater impact in how we work and how we communicate and how we travel. So for the council, digital content is increasingly the main way we keep our residents and employees informed, and this has become more important since the COVID crisis. So that means ensuring everyone can read what we publish, have equal access to important services we provide, particularly including people with additional needs, for example, those with screen readers or assistive tech. Before the pandemic, I was involved I undertook some customer engagement to look at digital services we provided to our communities and what they wanted. One of the focus groups was with people who experienced difficulties in accessing digital services, and we had some great feedback from them about how digital could offer inclusion. For example, people who had difficulty physically accessing locations no longer needed to do so if they could access their services online. Those with hearing difficulties found the web chat helpful. And at the end of the day, it's about offering choice and in terms of how people access our services. But at the same time, whilst digital has significant opportunity to tackle inclusion, it's dependent on good design to ensure that the tech's created for everyone. I'm going to mention that there is a significant diversity gap in the tech industry, with women and minorities underrepresented. I think only 5% of leadership positions in the UK tech sector are women, and only about 4% are from Black, Asian and minority groups. And we've been talking about this for many years, and we just aren't seeing real progress. And without different ideas and viewpoints, it means we aren't designing for everyone, and there are some real inequalities because people designing solutions are designing based on what they know, and that's too often drawing from a narrow demographic.
Yeah, and that sort of unconscious bias impacting on design. I mean, I guess it speaks to the point that digital and IT have really been through a huge journey from being just a sort of technical support function to really being at the cutting edge of design, customer experience, engagement, and really being an absolutely key part and embedded throughout the organization and every aspect of the touch points with the public, with the internal teams and so on. So I guess it must be interesting for you to, like you said, you've come through a career, in local government and private sector. How have you seen that role and that positioning of digital IT changing both internally and externally in terms of its role and also perception?
So it's, the role has changed, because at the start of my career, it was very much focused on the tech. It wasn't, there wasn't a concept of customer really, or the ultimate customer. It was about the internal departments, and it was all about mainframes and printouts and batch processing. Whereas now we're very much embedded with our businesses, our business areas. We need to understand what their business is, and we need to really understand who our customers are. So it's really broadened out. And I think the position of IT has changed quite dramatically in terms of the, our senior management. They see it as, we're a strategic asset, and that they understand that their business, they don't deliver their outcomes without the IT functioning properly.
Yeah, and that external perspective, the customer perspective, do they uniformly now expect to be able to interact and do most of their interactions with public sector organisations digitally, or is it still a sort of hybrid there?
So I think customer expectations are constantly changing, and particularly as I think we're seeing a growing population of older people who are becoming more and more comfortable with using digital channels, and these changes do impact on people's expectations. So the changes I'm seeing are the increased use of smartphones. We're seeing people predominantly coming onto our websites and online services with mobile devices, so it's critical we design those services with a mobile first approach. We're seeing use of social media and chat increasing. People want self-service and immediate access to information, so they look to examples in the private sector where they have real-time information on their services, goods, constant notifications of progress. And digital processes deliver this transparency, and certainly in the public sector, I think we've got a long way to go to achieve this. And we've got a big cultural shift for many of our departments to open up this level of transparency and adopt truly digital processes. I've seen too many analog processes stitched onto digital systems that circumvent what they can achieve. We're seeing, the 24/7 service. People want to transact with the council when it's convenient for them, and digital enables that. So So we're certainly seeing ongoing increases in digital interaction with our customers, and their expectations are definitely that this has to be easy and efficient from their perspective.
I guess that reinforces what you said earlier, which is that anyone in a digital role has to be in that customer facing mindset and listening and engaging constantly, because the last year has proved that expectations shift quickly, whether by choice or sort of forced circumstances. So having sort of antennae switched on to listening and picking up on those signals from the public that say, no, this is how we want to deal with you, this is what we need, are absolutely kind of critical. And I'm always interested in understanding where technology meets reality in terms of what's coming down the line. You know, we can reel off lists of exciting sounding technology, AI and machine learning and IoT and all that interesting stuff. But I'm always grateful for these opportunities when we're talking to people that are delivering sort of digital solutions in reality of where they are with that kind of tech and what they see as the stuff that's going to deliver impact sooner rather than later, and what's still a ways off. So from your perspective, though, maybe some of those techs I've listed, but then other things as well, where do you see the next sort of opportunities and breakthroughs and implementation of newer technology coming down the line for you?
So I think for the public sector as a whole, I think data remains untapped in the public sector. We need more ethical and open and transparent harnessing of technology and better use of it. Over the last 12 months, we've seen the flow of timely data from central to local government as a barrier at times to targeting support. And this is an issue that was already there, but I think the urgency of the pandemic has really brought that into sharper relief. I think whilst we're working more flexibly than before as we come out of the lockdown, there need to be an ongoing emphasis on remote and collaborative and automated methods. And we need to ensure that hybrid methods of working work well and extend beyond the tech to include our office-based design and utilisation and working practices. I think cybersecurity is it's not an opportunity, but it's a priority, because there's been a significant and concerning increase in cybersecurity attacks on the public sector, and strengthening our infrastructure to support smarter working will be a key. I think the pandemic's necessitated the rapid development of applications, and expectations that have changed about the speed of development. So we need to see services spun up in days rather than months or years. So I think there's opportunities around the continued growth in low code and no code solutions. And I think we need greater attention given to emerging technologies such as IoT and AI and 5G and all of this good stuff, to improve our processes and automate and self-service.
Yeah, good stuff. It's good to hear that it's not so far off that you have a handle on what needs to happen in order to make it deliver that impact, which is as we said before, is the key thing. Well, it's been a really interesting conversation, and I'm pleased to say that you're going to be joining us for the event in May for GovX Digital 2021 in one of our panel discussions, exploring more of these topics around digital services and local government and that sort of thing. So I'm interested to find out from you what it is you're sort of looking forward to sharing, and then also, in this sort of knowledge sharing spirit, what you're maybe looking forward to learning and hearing from other leaders in sort of local and central government.
So I'll be joining the local government transformation panel discussion, and we'll be talking about local government service delivery, and we'll be focusing around digital service delivery. I think it's important to collaborate and share and discuss best practices and new ideas, and forums such as this are a great way to do that. So I'm looking forward to hearing from others about their approach to digital service delivery, their priorities and challenges, and hopefully pick up a few top tips.
Great stuff. And it's really encouraging. We're hearing this so much now, is that sort of now more than ever, that collaboration, sharing best practice, sharing those wins, learning from problems and challenges, and sort of, passing on the sort of knowledge is critical, because everybody's got constraints, whether that's time, resource, budget, what have you. So getting more from what we have and really maximizing impact is absolutely key. So great to hear that you're going to be joining us with that spirit of collaboration and sharing. it's been a really interesting conversation. It's good to hear that Worcestershire is doing some great work and is continuing to sort of formulate and design an exciting new digital future. So, Sandra, just want to say thanks so much for joining us and looking forward to welcoming you to the event in May.
Thank you very much, Tim.
So thanks again to Sandra for joining me for a really interesting conversation. And as I mentioned, she's joining us for one of our standout sessions at GovX Digital 2021. It's the future of local government services, supported by our friends at Maytech. And that's happening on the 12th of May at 8:30 a.m. As well as Sandra on the panel, we have Tariq Khan, who is the Chief Digital and Information Officer at the London Borough of Camden, Cecilia Lonning-Skogard, who's Mayor of the City of Copenhagen, Dr. Deborah Smart, Corporate Director for Digital and Change at Dorset Council, and finally Glenn Ochcore, who is the Head of Local Government at Maytech. It's a fantastic panel, and they're going to be drilling into some of the major areas of transformation and change coming over the horizon in local government. So much good work going on there, so it's great to unpack some of that with the experts who are making it happen. In the meantime, that's all from me. We'll be back along soon with another government change maker sharing their perspectives, but until then, goodbye.